Nayyera Haq. Good morning, Nayyera. You attended the Pentagon briefing and you described the mood as grim, I understand.
Very grim there, because not only are the reporters in that room trying to get answers from the military about why this drawdown just fell apart, why the process has been so chaotic, but also many of them have served in Afghanistan. And that means the veterans who work in the building over the course of the last 20 years, as well as the reporters who have people in the country right now still trying to get out. And so I was surrounded by people who were deeply connected to what we talk about here on TV because they know people on the ground. They have worked there, and so their perspective when they ask questions is very different. And actually their number one concern was, how are the Afghan people, especially those who helped the United States, supposed to get out when everything is chaos?
Right, and there's so much danger that's over there, because you think the Taliban, even though that once again they're saying all the right things, you know you really can't trust them. And even if they're saying they're giving them free reign to get to the airport, they got to get to the airport, and that's hard. President Biden, adamant, he has been forceful about it. He says the buck stops with him, but then he passes the buck along to other people. You heard Sharon and talking about that. But how different is this public defense of the U.S. withdrawal and what's going on behind the scenes at the Pentagon and the State Department?
I wish I could tell you that there was more clarity from the State Department or the Pentagon about what the process is, but one of the specific questions asked yesterday is, what advice do you give to somebody who is sitting there waiting for a visa, and they now, even if they are lucky enough to get the phone call, your visa is ready, how are they supposed to get from Kandahar over the mountains, through Taliban territory, and into the airport? And they did not have answers to that. The actual answer was, well, make sure you are just in the system and shelter in place. And the idea that this system, somehow, that we can rely on a system in a place where systems have completely collapsed, is really the challenge right now. And that translates to how Biden is approaching this, which is ultimately saying, if the system works or doesn't, it's time to be gone. Yet the chaos that created these systems, the reason why the systems are falling apart, is because of United States engagement. Unfortunately, we do see that American sentiment and polling on these issues is kind of ambivalent. Right? You can ask the question, then 60% of Americans feel like the United States should make sure that the Afghan people, especially those who help the U.S., should get taken care of. And 60% of the people also think that the United States needs to keep its withdrawal timeline. So how you do both things by August 31st, I don't know. And apparently, neither does this administration. That's the scariest thing right now, is that the world's moral leader, the world's military leader, is really sitting here negotiating with the Taliban just to have some roads cleared and trying to get that little thing taken care of.
Yeah, and there's a difference between a withdrawal and an evacuation. You much rather have a withdrawal than an evacuation, because there's a sense of emergency when there's that type of evacuation, and that's what we're seeing right now. But a lot of finger pointing back and forth. Democrats can say about the Trump presidency, and of course Republicans are going to blame Biden, and then you got everybody from around the world with their own narrative and what they have to say about it. But you've been around Washington, D.C. for a very long time. You know it very well. I mean, I know this is a tough question to ask, but is there a way? And if so, how can the president change the narrative? How can he turn things around? How can he make this right, Nayyera?
The opportunity to really get the narrative right was in evacuating the Afghan SIVs, the people who, the interpreters who helped the United States, because they really do symbolize for the American public, you know, the people who put their skin in the game alongside the United States. And not having them removed now puts the president in the position of justifying and maintaining a deadline simply for the being able to say, I kept my deadline, but also then having to rely on an American public that may just forget about this after Labor Day. Right, that may just turn to other domestic issues afterwards. And the perception, they're really trying to play out the perception game that the American public doesn't care. I will say this, though. When we had Trump's ban on refugees come in as one of his first actions, it was actually remarkable, the outpouring of money that went to refugee organizations from the American public. So there is a underestimation of how Americans, whether they be from religious reasons or just motivated by caring, how much Americans actually are willing to step up when they're given a reason to. So that's what the United States had not done over 4 administrations, is really articulate in a compelling way and stay compelling about why limited U.S. engagement in Afghanistan is actually of benefit to the American public.
Yeah, I mean, some of us do have some compassion. Some of us do have a conscience. And if you can see the images of the desperation of the Afghani people trying to leave, running with the plane, literally falling from planes, losing their lives just to get out because they fear for their lives because of the Taliban taking over. You don't feel that, you have no pulse whatsoever. And I'm just going to say that on national television right now. But my final question, I'm going to let you go. A lot of people, especially women, are concerned over there, and they should be because of the Taliban's rule. Taliban saying everything, the right thing. Hey, we're going to give them free passage. We're not going to rule with that iron fist anymore. But there is still an August 31st deadline to get things done. How much can they be trusted? Everything that they're saying right now, is there a sense of trust that, okay, and I know Biden has basically said if you don't follow up and you try and do something that is going to be deliberately violent, we can come in there and do what we need to do. But how much can we trust the Taliban to live up to the words that they're speaking right now?
Not at all, and entirely trust them. And here's why I say that. In that press conference they delivered yesterday, they said a few things that on the surface sound really great. Like, oh, maybe they have reformed, but in actuality are an indication that they have a very, very nasty agenda coming ahead. Specifically, the line they said, well, we believe women should go to school, but as long as women and men abide by Sharia law, everybody will be happy. That's what they said. They said the women will be happy. Their definition of Sharia law, though, is not one that any Muslim in the world largely ascribes to, right? It is not. It is a brutal version using scripture to hurt people on a daily basis and to oppress people on a daily basis. It is the worst perversion of religion you can see. And so they actually told the public that they would still be holding to their interpretation of that. And so it's the cultural nuance and the awareness and understanding. The Taliban have been very clear about who they are. And, you know, we all know this. If you believe people when they tell you who they are the first time. Yeah.
You know it. Yeah, you were with us all day. Of course, you work here. We need you. We appreciate you. Of course, you're very valuable. We'll see you at 5 o'clock tonight with Kelly Wright for the World News Tonight. Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent Nayyera Haq. Of course, World Tonight starting at 5 p.m. once again Eastern right here on BNC. Thank you, Nayyera.